Man, it took way too long to get my hands on a copy of this. Hello and welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we're taking a look at the Gundam Calibarn from G-Witch. And starting off the review, as always, with the articulation. Head is on a kind of barbell. Top is a ball joint, and then the bottom is a backwards facing ball joint. So you actually get kind of an incredible neck. And kind of see how the head goes together there. Get back on. But yeah, great head articulation. Shoulders are, well, this chunk of the chest here that you can see moving is on a ball joint into the front. And then the shoulder itself is on a ball joint into that. So, pretty good range in that shoulder joint. Then the shoulder armor is on a separate hinge, like, as far as I'm aware, all the G-Witch kits. And then this has an outwards hinge separately too. So, no real problems with the shoulder articulation. Jeez. Bicep rotation. And I do want to take a second to point out the asymmetrical arm, which it's kind of a weird decision to do it that way, but it works, I guess. Just that little bit of extra weight up at the top. Single jointed elbow for just over 90 degrees. And the hands, as always, on a ball joint. The waist is on a forward-facing ball joint, so you get a pretty good ab crunch, as well as not as good pivot side to side, but that's mostly just because there's not really much clearance there. And there is also a swivel at the waist, which on mine, I don't know how well you can see it, but it leaves a weird gap there. The skirts are barely there, to be honest. Front skirts are ball jointed. I separated them, though they do come connected. Side skirts are just on a little up hinge, if you want to call those a side skirt. Rear skirt is pretty much fixed, though these do hinge out. Hips are just universal joints, which, granted, that's still a pretty good high kick, though it does come out to the side. Though, surprisingly, you can get a pretty much full splits out of it. There is also a slight thigh swivel, though, I mean, given the design, you're not going to get much more than that. Damn good double knee. I mean, that's pretty much a full bend. The feet are the same kind of jank system the Aerial has, where it's a front-to-back C-clip. Then the back of the foot is on a side-to-side swivel. The toe is a ball joint. And the ankle guard is a tiny little ball joint. So you get no foot rotation, which is... it's not too big a deal, but it does mean that some poses might look a little stiff. Now, moving on to the backpack, these side thrusters are ball jointed, though they're stupidly tight on mine. They wiggle more than they actually rotate. Also, these can open and close very slightly. And the subarm for the long rifle is a ball joint, hinge, swivel, ball joint, swivel. And both handles are hinges. This one hinges front to back, this one hinges to the side. Honestly, I'm surprised it would stand. The back of that rifle is real heavy. But it has great articulation. I mean, it's a G-Witch kit, of course it does. These all are pretty much excellent. And getting into accessories, let's start off, as always, with the sticker sheet and, by extension, color correction. You can see I used pretty much all the ones for the actual permit particles, and also these ones over here. I tried using the one for the bit, but it didn't work so well, so I ended up just painting that. But otherwise, it's mostly just cameras. They did bother giving you the unactivated permit, but of course, since it's Bandai, they made the red permit P-Bandai. In fact, they just announced it right before I'm recording this. Anyway, let's go over the paint. The little side vents here on the side of the head. The eyes are gray. They do have the gray around them, but I just painted that black to be 100% accurate. Obviously, panel lining in that. all the head cameras are actually separated, including the back one, which is part of the same green piece as the eyes in the front camera. I did paint over those to be a little more metallic, but it's in green anyway, and it comes with stickers. If you'd rather it be metallic, you don't have to paint that. Aside from a small amount of gray, which is the rifle here, and I mean they give you a sticker for this stripe. I don't remember it turning green, but they do give you a green version of the same sticker. Why would that be a sensor or thruster? But whatever. G-Witch has plenty of nonsensical things when it comes to like engineering. Anyway, aside from that gray, the sort of grate vent here on, well, it really doesn't want to focus, on the feet, and the gray on these vents here on the back. Aside from that, and a little bit of white on the some of the bits, which also has stickers if you noticed. Pretty much everything else that's missing is just black. Like, black in the vent here. Oh yeah, these are stickers, by the way. I don't know why it has cameras on the back of the arm, but black stripe on the top of here and bottom there, and the vent in there. The black around this gray vent and in it. Black right there. Black in this vent, black in all the vents on the leg, black on the sides of the rifle, a little bit of black in all of 4 of those, black in the skirt there and here and on the inside, which not that super easy to see, and then there's black on the bits again, but we'll get into that when we get into the actual, when we go over the bits properly. Now unfortunately, black or gray in here, just in front of this piece is that's part of the white. I just painted it black. It's no big deal. Oh yeah, and the black in these too. Anyway, there's a lot of green in here. I used the stickers, and if you have a toothpick, it's not too bad to put them on. But yeah, that is. I feel like they probably could have done that slightly differently. A little bit annoying to put these stickers on in here, especially since it's 16 little stripe stickers to go on there. They do give you a sticker for this little bit of green and black here, but I mean, it's a roll sticker, it looks gross, so I just painted that. Overall, it looked fine if you just use the stickers. But if you're a stickler for being completely accurate, it's going to take a little bit of extra work. I mean, a black Gundam marker would bring you most of the way, but you do have to paint a little bit of gray. Speaking of gray, that does remind me. These C-clips at the top of the shoulder are technically supposed to be the same gray as the inner joint, but I did that on the aerial, and painting these kind of joints, or any joints really, is just it's gonna scrape off. I didn't even bother on this one, to be honest. It's just not worth it. Anyway, onto accessories. And technically this counts as an accessory. As I said, these are articulated, though I didn't mention. This is also articulated for the boost mode. This slides out. Kind of unnecessary, but whatever. And then all 4 of these are on a double hinge. Out like that. So you can... Come on. It's a double C-clip, by the way. Makes me a little bit concerned. You can bring these all out. I'm not going to do it, honestly. But yeah, it works fine. Also for the high mobility mode, I guess you want to call it, you can fold down the heel and the foot to make the boost mode. It looks kind of silly, to be honest, but it is a thing it does. It does also give it massive stilettos, which is kind of funny. Unfortunately, it does leave this nasty white, and again, I don't know if you're supposed to paint that gray, but yeah, I ain't doing that. That would immediately scratch off. You do also get 2 beam sabers, and you get, I don't know if these are the exact same mold as the aerial, though I'm assuming they are, given the shape of the runner. Just plugs in, nice and solid, slips into the hand fine, nice and solid, and as far as I'm aware, the blue is actually accurate this time, I think. It's been a while since I watched the finale, so I don't actually remember, but if that's supposed to be the combat color, I'm assuming it's right this time. You do get 2, I just only bothered cutting out 1. It's not like you would ever actually use it in this hand anyway, so I mean, it doesn't really seem necessary. And you do, of course, get the unactivated parts too. The chest and the V-fin in smoky black, I guess. The two that are on it come on their own completely, like, crystal clear plastic runner with pre-painted stuff. Weirdly, they're backed with silver, not black like the aerials, though I think that might just be because the V-fin would look really weird if the back of it was black. And finally, let's talk about spoilers. The white aerial rebuilds bits. It does come with the shield piece, so you can connect them all together. And yeah, all the black on this is painted, and also the white up at the tip of these two gray pieces. Oh, also, I will point out, all these little vents on the inside are silver. And I checked the actual animation, and they painted on the promotional images. It was hard to see because there's only one picture on the side of the box. They painted the insides like black or dark gray, but they're actually supposed to still be white. At least according to the scenes that I was looking at. They don't show up very much, so you really kind of gotta, you know, hope for the best. These are, sculpt-wise, identical to the aerial rebuild. Yeah. These are identical to the aerial rebuild sculpt-wise, but they're actually unique since they're just sculpted in white, so you don't have the color separation with the blue. They are their own unique parts. And if you buy two of those G-Witch bit stands, which are impossible to get because for some reason they didn't bother printing them very much, you can have these floating around, but more importantly, you can't actually stick them on the Calibarn. Now, just to save me some trouble doing this, I am going to bring in the final accessory, which is one of these cheap little one mold stands that they put in kits when they want you to feel like you're not getting as ripped off. And let's see, the one with the camera goes over on this forearm and plugs in there. The shieldy one goes over on this forearm, plugs in. It's little vents. Whoa, oh. Saber's getting in the way. Go up on top of the shoulders. These two go on the thighs, obviously. A little bit harder to get this one in because of the big ass rifle. This one plugs on here. These smaller ones plug in to the back skirt. And finally, the two big ones plug in to these back thrusters. And honestly, it doesn't really change the silhouette that much. And I also don't think it looks better with them. The original aerial, I think, looks better with the bits attached to it. The rebuild, I'm just not a huge fan of anyway. And these bits, well, I mean, they're not meant for the Calibarn anyway, so it kind of makes sense they don't fit, but I kind of prefer how it looks without them. I mean, I won't be displaying it with this on, so, I mean, it's fine if you like it, I just don't. And as for a quick size comparison, I'm gonna leave it up on the stand, because, well, there's no way you're not displaying it on the stand, come on. Pretty good height, and yeah, the long rifle is kind of stupidly big. So, to wrap this review up, I like the Calibarn. It's not my favorite of the G-Witch kits, but it does a pretty good job of representing the one in the show. I still think the original aerial is probably the best of all the Ilfrith, or I don't really know how you pronounce that. All of, like, these permit Gundams. I still think the original aerial is still the strongest of them, but this is definitely number 2 for me when it comes to the aesthetic. I do really like the rifle, though they probably should have just dropped the pretense and just sort of called it a broom rifle, but whatever, I'm just gonna call it that anyway. But I like the design. The color correction is fairly minimal. It's a little bit sticker hell with the weapon, but that's not a huge deal. Really, my biggest complaint is that the little clear pieces that go on the shoulder have some really annoying nubs to take off. I mean, that's just kind of a problem with clear plastic anyway, where nubs are a nightmare because it's a hard, brittle material. But there's some real thick ones on those little parts, and they're just hard to hold on to and take off. I feel like they could have designed it a little better. Otherwise, I don't really have any complaints. Aside from the usual no additional hands, but hey, it's a modern retail release. They're not going to give us more hands, are they? If you like the Calibarn, I can recommend picking this up. Though you probably will want some gray paint at least. And that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted for future reviews. Come chill in the Discord. Follow me on Twitter, if that's even still around. And consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep bringing you videos like this. And, as always, until next time, happy building.